Well. How's it going out there today, boys and girls in sporting land? This is JPC with J&J Outlaw Sports, the home of the Common Joe and the Common Sally in the know. Even more so, this is my favorite part, than those media talking heads. Now, today, class, the topic is the Georgia Bulldogs and why they may finally have their day in the sun. You know, the old saying of the sun shines on a dog's ass every now and then. Well, that may be about to occur for the first time since Fonzie was tapping jukeboxes in Milwaukee and getting all the ass on happy days. Oh, those happy days coming back to Georgia this day, hopefully for them. Bring in Vince Dooley, bring back Herschel Walker, have them as grand marshals of the parade in Athens if they can win the national championship this year. But before I get to why I think Georgia may finally overcome that hump, I'd like to ask you guys and gals to like, share, comment, and what? Subscribe to this channel. Subscriptions are most important as always. Don't take but 5 seconds to hit that little bell. Keeps me up and going in the good graces of YouTube. And as I always like to say, class, it's all free fun. Nothing like free fun. Now let's get right to it. The Georgia Bulldogs. And the reason why I say I think that they're due and I think that this may finally be their year is there's numerous factors. There's a pattern that has developed somewhat here recently with LSU and Alabama in the SEC. LSU had a astronomically great offensive explosive type year. They had a decent defense, but they had such a great offense that they could afford to give up at least 20, 24 points a game and still win by 20. And then nobody thought that could be followed, and it was by Alabama and Steve Sarkisian the next following year with Mac Jones and company and Devontae Smith and all the other weapons. Who's Jalen Waddle had been there. Who knows what would happen? But it's happened 2 years in a row now that an SEC team has followed each other with astronomically great offensive explosions with players that were sitting around waiting their time and finally getting their chance to shine, just like Joe Burrow did. You know, Joe Burrow had a pedestrian type year his first year at LSU, and then he come back that second year and after some experience exploded. Mac Jones, same thing, not as much experience, but he had to go in to the fire basically when Tua went down. Had some decent numbers without the 2 picks at Auburn, probably wins that game. Had a great bowl game. So Mac Jones then comes in that next year and explodes. Very eerily similar to what JT Daniels done at Georgia last year. If Kirby could get out of his own way, this university would have probably already won a national title. Mark Richt, he probably should have won a national title. But Kirby's numbers are the same as Mark Richt's. So Kirby just needs to get out of his own way. That's the issue. If Kirby can just let loose and let go of the reins a little bit more with Todd Monken, I think things could be exponentially better for Georgia this year offensively. We all know they've got a stable of running backs, but now they've got this guy that broke out at the spring game here. I got his numbers of Donnie Mitchell. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. You guys can correct me on that. But Donnie Mitchell broke out with 7 catches, 105 yards at the spring game. Also, Darnell Washington, a massive tight end for Georgia. Huge guy. Big mismatch for anybody who's going to cover him, whether it be a fast guy who's not going to be able to handle his size or a guy that's big enough to handle his size but not fast enough to keep up. Darnell Washington, 4 catches, 84 yards in the spring game. Eerily similar to what was going on at LSU and Alabama, but pre-national championship. JT Daniels, I think, is going to be a breakout star this year. The Donnie Mitchell guy could also be a breakout star. Wouldn't surprise me if they were both up there like Mac Jones and Devontae Smith for the Heisman Trophy. So, with that being said, what does Georgia have to do to get over that hump? I mean, we've said this numerous times that Georgia was on the cusp. And, you know, I did a video a few weeks back or about a week ago about West Virginia being on the cusp of winning a national championship. There's a difference between being on the cusp of winning your first national championship and being close to being in the conversation and actually doing it. I think Georgia is finally going to actually do it. This could be their year. Like I said, all the signs point to a pattern has developed with the SEC, just like it did back in the latter part of the early 2000 decade and the teen decade, when the SEC rattled off 7 in a row. So, in my opinion, if Kirby Smart can just let go of the reins just a little bit and let Todd Monken loose, just let him do what he's got to do with JT Daniels, and, sort of like Saban did with Lane Kiffin and Sarkisian. If you want to follow a winning formula, follow that one. Because Ed Orgeron sort of did the same thing with Brady and his defensive coordinator, who's now at Baylor, Dave Aranda. He basically let go of the reins and let them go. That's a different story. I think basically Eddie Ogre was like the Queen of England that season. He just got lucky a little bit and happened to have 2 great coordinators that covered for him. But I think Georgia's time is now. They've been very close. Like I said, this is sort of comparable to my West Virginia video that I did, except that this is a video about a team that actually is going to do it very soon. West Virginia on the cusp. Georgia has been there. They've been in the national championship game. They've been in the playoffs. They've been to the top of the mountain, won the SEC championship in the SEC as far as being at the top of the mountain in the conference. Now they just need to take that one last step. And like I said, if Kirby can just get out of his own way and not try to pull something cute out of his ass like he did with that fake punt and Justin Fields when he was at Georgia, I think Georgia will finally win a national championship. Now, I still have yet to do my top 10. I'm going to do like a top 10 or a top 12 when the Athens magazines and the Lindy's come out after I get a look at what they're thinking and what all the other magazines are thinking. Then I'm going to formulate my opinion, blend it in with theirs, and come up with a top 12, maybe a dirty dozen for you guys. But right now, I'm leaning Georgia or Oklahoma. And the reason why this might be a good time for them to do it, just like with LSU, is Alabama's breaking in a new quarterback. Alabama's won 6 of 12 national championships. So in this rotational year, you would think that it's time for someone to get that open window opportunity and take it while Alabama's trying to break in a new quarterback. That's another reason I think this could be Georgia's year. So you guys and gals tell me, do you think Georgia can finally overcome and win that first national championship since the Fonzie and the Happy Days era? Or do you think they're going to continue to struggle with the big game and maybe choke one away? Leave your comments in the comments section. Give me your opinions. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel once again. And as always, KMCA to all the other teams.